No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way.
He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend.
Talking on it though, then
He
you
a
can't put it up
legend.
later.
Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of idols. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of idols.
Welcome back to Summoner's Rift. Today's matches are sure to be the most boring matches ever. We have the two best teams in the LPL, who just faced off in the Mid-Season Cup Finals, paired against LNG, who is hot garbage, and was completely annihilated by future Summer Split champions, Sunny. I love you, Sunny. Like a son. Thanks for the money. In the first big fight of the game, FPX is sieging top tower, but XX is toxic, ward hopping and kicking Nidalee into his team. She escapes, but two of her teammates pay the price, with LWX and Crisp both falling. LNG seemed disinterested in actually competing, similar to their showing against Sunny. I love you, Sunny. They watch FPX take Dragon from afar, but still manage to get engaged on by Crisp. Light drops low quickly, burning both summoners, and FPX are in hot pursuit of Deadash. Baron is started by FPX, while Doinby flanks the enemy team, picking up 2 kills. Baron is secured, and this one is all but over. FPX is setting up for Dragon Soul, and is quickly taking it down before XX swoops in with a drive-by Q-steal. As the rest of the team looks to run away, Ward blast cones over the wall and ults Doinby. It was at that moment he knew he fucked up. Crisp engages on Light the exact same way as the earlier Dragon fight, setting up what seemed like an easy chase down. But LNG actually stands their ground and trades back a few kills. Before being aced. FPX wins game 1, but it's starting to look like LNG is waking up. The game is still tied at the 6-minute mark, when Tian whips out his pillar on J4 from behind. LNG begins to disengage, but Trundle trolls his own team. Tricking them into starting a team fight. Trundle ends up dying first, and a kill is traded back. But Galio is there for the cleanup, and Maple gets a triple kill. We are now 12 minutes into the game, and LNG has a 3k gold lead, but FPX is still the aggressor. They engage on Maple looking for a shutdown, but he's just too tanky. They turn the fight, killing Doinby and Crisp. LWX is set up for a good bullet time, but it's not enough to save Khan. What is going on here? LNG is winning every team fight this game. LNG's approach to the mid and late game is textbook, but FPX still believes they can outplay. LNG starts the Baron, a risky play from the underdog. FPX hovers around, but LNG swings into the jungle to set up a decisive teamfight around red buff. Jarvan, Wukong, and Galio engage with an incredible wombo combo on F, allowing Aphelios to free fire. "26 kills in game 2 for LNG means we're headed to a game 3. In Game 3, we have Maple and Doonby trading in the mid lane, but Doonby is overextended and is engaged on by J4. Both bot lanes respond into on flash ults. Aphelios is left alone, making Galio think that he could turn the fight, but J4's Cataclysm locks down FPX and secures a teamfight victory for LNG. FPX isn't intimidated by their gold lead and continuously looks for fights throughout the mid-game. At the 20-minute mark, FPX goes for a risky engage on Aphelios, who doesn't have flash, but Ezreal whiffs his ultimate. LWX has been atrocious all day. Light goes down after 4 ultimates are used, but the teamfight is already being turned by Sylas. 4 kills and another dragon go LNG's way. A 4K gold lead. After securing Dragon Soul and Baron, LNG Siege is top lane. FPX looks for a desperation engage with a TP flanked by Wukong. He manages to get onto Aphelios. Galio's ult has no impact, only hitting frontline. Mr. 200 Years is completely safe, and the rest of LNG shreds FPX. What an upset by LNG, who was plus 975 on most books. GG, LNG! With Jackie Love's sideline due to sickness, Top Esports turns to Chow Chow in the bot lane. Can the support main hold his own against Rogue Warriors? Karsa dominated the early game, but a series of strange teamfights allowed Rogue Warriors to pull off a great Baron sneak. We pick up the game at the 28-minute mark. Top Esports is down in inhib, but is posturing aggressively around Baron to make sure they aren't caught off again. Rogue Warriors sees top is separated, even wasting 2 ults on Thresh, after quickly regrouping in the mid lane. Rogue Warriors turns once again. And takes out Thresh, but they're in a choke point. And Karsa goes in for a 4-man knockup. What a play by the Blind Monk. MF's ultimate left something to be desired, but Kassadin and Aatrox clean up the fight easily before taking Baron and creating the first substantial gold lead for Top Esports in the game. The game has slipped right through Rogue Warriors' fingers. After everyone respawns, Chow Chow is caught out in the mid lane by Bard's ultimate. She flashes out, but there's no escape. What a huge mistake by the substitute. Rogue Warriors can certainly end, taking down the middle inhibitor. But Karsa is smurfing! Another brilliant engage, ward hopping and kick flashing Aphelios into the waiting arms of Knight, the Cosmic Reaver. But Knight dies, and Top Esports still wants more. Azir's turret isn't enough to dissuade Top Esports. And Bard ends up helping Top Esports, trapping his own teammate in an ult. Another one team fight for Top Esports. After making multiple game-saving plays, Karsa is spotted by a Blood Ward and doesn't notice until it's too late. Rogue Warriors can smell victory and chase down Top Esports. Kassadin manages to get out, but MF isn't as lucky and is taken out by Ruby. It's 4v3 and Rogue Warriors has minions to end. But Knight isn't done yet, taking out Trundle. But the Nexus is exposed. Can they finish? Can they finish? One more. No! Top Esports saves the Nexus. With the Nexus open, all Road Warriors needs to do is win one team fight and they can claim victory. But Top Esports has other plans. Bard wastes his ultimate on Thresh once again as 3 members flank the backline. Azir whiffs his ultimate, and the Chaos allows MF to get off a bullet time to secure a kill. The fight continues to break down, which spells disaster for Azir and Aphelios because Knight is coming in hot. Top Esports gets the ace and closes out Game 1. 11 kills for Knight. In Game 2, Lucian is low under tower, and Knight can smell blood in the water. Top Esports shoves the wave under tower and dives, instead of taking a free dragon. Lucian dies, but Ezreal is baited. Wukong teleports in and turns the fight, with Rogue Warriors winning the trade. Barely 1 minute later, Top Esports takes down Dragon. But Rogue Warriors is collapsing and they're outnumbered. Mordekaiser has to quickly TP to salvage the fight and manages to zone off Lucian and Yuumi as the initial skirmish goes 1-for-1. LeBlanc also dies, and Wukong follows shortly after. A dragon and multiple kills for Top Esports swings the game back to them. After taking another dragon, Top Esports sends Diana down into the bot lane, where she's greeted by LeBlanc, Trundle, and Wukong. Mord saves the day with another great TP. And Top Esports even manages to win the fight 2v3. Lucian and Yuumi show up just in time to die. After a few more skirmishes, Rogue Warriors is caught out in their own jungle, promptly getting aced and securing my ticket into the online championship.
Hello, what's up everybody? Fun plus Phoenix, huh? So yeah, after the day started with Fun plus Phoenix losing, I thought I was going to be screwed. However, everyone else played FPX and Top Esports too, in most of the contests. First, I want to take a look at the qualifier that I just won. I finally won a ticket to the championship that's on Friday. I've lost probably 2 or 3 other contests by 1 to 2 points combined. So I'm glad that I finally got into it. The last fight is actually what basically won it for me, I think, because 369 was not involved. Leona got Leona from Top Esports got up to 10 assists, and then Ezreal got a few kills. So everything just kind of went my way in this contest. After the first matchup, there were only it was basically myself against this guy, Decap. He had a game stack. I had a 4-3 stack with FPX and Top Esports. Nobody had any LNG players in this contest. So pretty fortunate. I thought I was dead in the water, but I realized like right after that series ended that I was still alive in this. So 619.74. I had Chow Chow as my captain. I had Khan, Karsa, Knight, LWX, Yuyanjia, and FPX. So I think Khan played okay in their match against LNG. LWX was horrible in games 2 and game 3. Just really, really bad. Knight was great for DraftKings as per usual. I was kind of kicking myself because last night I came to the realization that in order to have Knight as your captain, you needed to either do a game stack with Top Esports and Rogue Warriors, or you needed to have Knight plus LNG. But I just had no faith that LNG would be able to produce a high enough score, and they ended up going pretty. They wound up going off with a pretty high number, which was pretty insane to watch. What I will say about FPX is I'm sure a lot of people are going to criticize them for how they played in their losses, but that's how you have to play League of Legends, because they were continuously forcing LNG to make difficult decisions and fight them, because FPX is a very good team fighting team. They believe in themselves that they can win team fights even from bad positions, and you got to respect that. I think that they do a pretty great job in general. This was kind of just a fluke. That's why it's never 100-0. Even if it's 99 to 1%, this is like a 1% outcome, a 10% outcome. So you kind of just have to deal with it. Let's take a look at the best lineup of the night. The best lineup that was played was Knight Captain with 4 players from LNG, and then Chow Chow and Top Esports. So you basically have a mid laner, top jungle, mid, AD carry, and then the team slot. One of the interesting decisions I was trying to go through last night was Yuyanjia versus Chow Chow, because I thought that this would have been the perfect time to pull out a Senna AD carry with like a Tom Kench support or a Set support, Galio support, Nautilus, Maokai, just a ton of champions that work really well with Senna, and it would give both of them champions that they're relatively comfortable on, and it would take the priority away from Chow Chow in the bot lane. Some people were saying that he used to be an AD carry. I'm not sure when that was, but that's irrelevant, whether or not he was a professional AD carry, because these guys understand the game, they play the game. They might main one role, but they understand how to play the other roles, and the only difference is like mechanical intensity of champions. But as you saw in his second game, he's definitely good enough to play Ezreal, especially when you're winning. Like, the game is very easy to play when you're winning. Like, your mechanical ability is tested much more in games that you're losing. So that's basically it for that. Let's take a look at some of the scores. So, like I said, LWX, I know Osimo put out a tweet yesterday saying that he thought LWX's ownership was going to be around 90%, because you basically needed to have him in your lineup. It wasn't 90%, but it was extremely high. Chow Chow, so paying a support price for an AD carry obviously is very good. I think that this number would have been higher if everyone knew that Chow Chow was good enough to like actually survive in a professional match as an AD carry. I knew that he was able to, just based off of what I know about League of Legends. I didn't know about the whole him being a professional AD carry at one point. I still don't know if that's true or not. It didn't really matter to me. Then we had Tian. He was very highly owned. Knight was higher than Doinby because people just prefer Knight. Karsa was very highly owned, 369. So we had FPX. We had Top Esports. Zwuji was very highly owned because a lot of players wanted to do one-offs to get Knight captain, and just the game stack because players like doing game stacks. Yuyanjia, Lei, Yudong. Okay, so now we get down to Rogue Warriors. Some of the other players from Rogue Warriors. The team was 20%. That's pretty surprising. I didn't think that. Like, I think that the Jackie Love news increased the ownership of Rogue Warriors a lot, which was good for me because I was going to fade them no matter what. Like, I was considering doing one-offs with Zwuji and stuff like that, but I wasn't going to have any actual stacks of them. Then we had LNG all the way down in the single digits. So this was the play. Like I said, I was kicking myself when I saw FPX lose because I thought to myself, I could have gotten onto this play just from a game theory perspective and a lineup construction perspective without even having to think about LNG winning. It could have just been Top Esports outscores FPX, LNG outscores Rogue Warriors, and then that's one of the better ways to build your lineup. The alternative would have been Top Esports and FPX stacks with jungle captains, top captains, support captains, and Chow Chow Yu Yanjia was a very interesting one. So that was actually my highest. That was my main strategy last night, was getting Yu Yanjia and Chow Chow in the support, in the captain and support roles, and just switching them back and forth, because I thought that the Senna 80 carry was an option, which would have given the support a higher upside, slightly. So that's what I was looking at last night. Let's do this. So first you got to go to captain. All right, only one of them today. I should change that. All right, so as per usual, let's just start with 80 carry. LWX, Zwooji, Light, and Jackie Love didn't play, so I guess we should have included Chow Chow, but let's see. Just so it's easier to compare them. Okay, so Light had 138 points. That's a great night. He basically scored just as much as Knight did, which is pretty impressive. It's a lot easier when you're in these extremely volatile games and the losing team continuously throws themselves at you. So that's one thing to keep in mind in the future. If you think FPX is going to lose a match, they're going to hopefully continuously fight unless they have like an outscaling team comp and play passive. But it's definitely an option. Chow Chow was the second highest 80 carry, 97.8. Zwooji, a decent chunk of ownership there, and he only scored 30 points, so that killed a lot of lineups. Tian, 54. We had XX and Karsa, both very high. If you watch the games, Karsa played out of his mind on Lee Sin today. Extremely impressive game. I think that was game 1 when he ward hopped and then kick flashed and basically saved the game for Top Esports like several times in that game. Just a great job by him. So I know a lot of people are critical of picking Lee Sin in a professional game, but when you can play Lee Sin like Karsa does, like, it's just a playmaking champion that like is out of control. Not a lot of champions have that kind of impact. His role changes throughout the game, but he's always somewhat useful, even when he's falling behind. So in the mid lane, we had Knight and we had Maple. Maple had that crazy Galio game. That was pretty lucky, I think, in general. Maple, I'm not a big fan of Maple. I think he's overrated. Well, not that he's overrated, but I don't know how much better he is than the average LPL mid laner. I would say he's not. Like, if I rated all the mid laners, he'd be in the bottom 5 for sure. And there's 17 mid laners, I think. 17 starting mid laners. So good, like he had a good series, but anybody can have a good series. Not paying too much attention to that. And then in the support, we have Yu Yanjia had 82.4. So this is why I was thinking about Chow Chow and Yu Yanjia and swapping them back and forth. It's because they were only separated by 15 points. So I was definitely alive with like that concept. All I really needed was Yu Yanjia either getting like a ton of assists in one game where Chow Chow isn't really contributing to all of the kills, and not getting credit. So I'm fine with that decision. Next up, let's go to the betting sheet. So last night, FPX minus 2,500. There was no way I was going to touch that bet. And this is exactly why. I think that the number was pretty close to being correct. I think like 85, 90, 95% of the time they win this matchup. This was a 5% outcome. I hope that people overreact to this, because I'll be betting against LNG the next time that they play probably, and I'll be betting on FPX the next time they play probably. This is really when like you can start getting momentum as a bettor, either by putting in bets on a sports book or by playing lineups on DraftKings, because you understand where these narratives are going and you can kind of anticipate where the public is going to be a little bit more easy. Second game, Top Esports. I liked Top Esports. So far, I am 7-3. Once again, 7-3. Thank you. I know some of these were pretty easy picks, but I still made them. Didn't bet all of them, obviously, but just knowing what side to be on for DraftKings is always very important. So LPL tonight, we have RNG against Vici Gaming, and we have JDG against Sunning. So let's take a look at these teams and just kind of reorient ourselves and understand where these matchups are going. So the first game, the first match for RNG was against OMG. OMG looked not horrible against RNG, but they didn't look good. And then they lost to V5. So people are extremely low on OMG, which kind of takes some of the credit away from RNG's victory. But I think that RNG just played a really good series overall. Xiao, who do you think you are? Probably the best clip of all time. But yeah, New, XLB, Xiaohu, Betty, and Ming. I think that it's a good lineup. I think that Betty, without the looming specter of Uzi coming back, I think that might actually just help him be a better player and more confident and feel more secure in his role. Then we have Xiaohu. I think Xiaohu's an extremely good player, and he proved that again yesterday, or the last time they played. Then we have Vici Gaming. Vici Gaming played against Billy Gaming. I don't like Billy Gaming. I think that they're a pretty bad team. So Billy Gaming's down here. We have Vici Gaming right here. So Vici Gaming was supposed to be Billy Gaming. RNG against Vici. I think that RNG should win from a talent perspective. So let's just remember who's on their team. So Cube, Aches, Forge, iBoy, and Hong. So their match against Billy Gaming was somewhat not close. They were pretty dominant in that matchup. Yeah, not much to say there. I think that in the top lane, Cube versus New, I think it's kind of 50-50. I don't know enough about New to really compare him to Cube, and I don't have a high opinion of Cube. Aches against XLB. I think XLB's a little bit better, but it's tough to say. They're so important for their team's chances of winning, so typically like a win rate is going to tell you a lot about the jungler because they have to do so much in order to keep their team competitive. So I think XLB is probably better for that reason. He's been on more successful teams in the past. Forge against Xiaohu. Xiaohu's definitely a better mid laner than Forge. I don't think anybody would really say otherwise. iBoy against Betty. They're probably pretty close in terms of skill according to the public. But I think Betty's probably... I think that the public would say that iBoy is slightly better because he was touted as like a future not only a bot lane player, but an actual carry who can take over a game. And they have been in positions where he has done that. He does play the Senna, which is pretty interesting. It's a better team pick than it is like a carry pick. But it is a good play style, especially on this patch. So that is a little bit scary. I don't think Betty would play that. But Betty is more likely to play a hyper carry, which is something that is something that's very good. So yeah, like Betty played Senna a few times and they lost. I remember that from last season. So like I said, RNG. I think I'm on RNG side tonight. What was the pick again? -154. So I like RNG. -154. It seems pretty fair. It's probably too fair. I would like that extra 5 or 6%. In the long run, that'll be very important. Hopefully the line moves a little bit. I don't think there's enough value there, so not yet. But if that line went down to like 125 to 135, I think that it's a spot to look at. But I'm not forcing anything because I am playing money on DraftKings, so I'm getting exposure to like how I think the games are going to turn out anyways. And then we have JDG against Sunning. So let's go back to the Gamepedia. All right. So JDG, their last match was against Fun Plus Phoenix in the semifinals of the Midseason Cup. The public is going to be extremely high on JDG, even though they lost that tournament, or lost in that tournament. Zoom and Kanavi, still pretty good players. I think that they are overrated, and I think that regression is coming for JDG. Based off of the games that we've seen so far, there seems to be a lower priority on Graves, Kindred, Nidalee from a lot of teams. But I hope that Sunning doesn't fall for that trap, because I think that's the biggest way that JDG can kind of carve out an edge for themselves, is Sunning misreading the metagame and JDG just leaning into the metagame. So I am slightly afraid for that reason. You're going to have to spend a lot of bans on junglers if you are Sunning, because they definitely have an advantage in the jungle. So in the top lane, we have Bin against Zoom. Zoom's a better player than him. S of M against Kanavi. Kanavi's a better player than S of M, but like I said during the Esportscenter segment, Bin playing Graves and going out of control was like the best possible thing that I could have seen, because I'm not sure who's blue side. Let me check. This is spring. I need summer. So if this is correct, then Sunning is blue side, and that means that they don't have to ban every carry jungler. They can leave at least one of them open and try to put Bin on it. I think this is a chance, or put SFM on it. I think this is a spot where SFM has a chance to really prove himself against a top jungler, and even if they win one game and go 1-2, I think that that'd be a huge victory for Sunning. If in terms of bets, you probably would want to look at, if you don't feel comfortable in betting on the actual match, like the entire match, look for a map 1 or map 2, and you'll probably get good value on those as well. So that's definitely something to take a look at. I'll have to look at that off the video. Angel against Yagao. Angel is just as good as Yagao, I think. Yagao might be slightly better. But I think that he just looks better because he's been on a team that has won more. So I'm not really convinced that there's an extreme talent discrepancy. So if Kanavi plus Yagao is better than SFM and Angel, then it could be a problem. But as I've said several times when I talk about Sunning, their real strength is in the bot lane. Huanfeng and Sword Art, a great bot duo, and they are better than JDG's bot lane. So JDG has Loken and Lu Mao. Lu Mao did a good job in the finals. I'm not saying that he didn't. I just don't think he is as good as Sword Art. He is very good at Bard, but that's going to be a contested pick because Sword Art plays Bard as well. So, I just like it more and more. I like the Sunning side more and more. The fact that they have some of these picks that they can contest, it's going to make the draft much more difficult to play from the red side. Because typically JDG against a lot of these teams, since their jungler is so much better than the other jungler, and the other jungler doesn't play the carry style, they don't have to ban anything for the first pick blue side to help keep some of the strong champions away from the blue team. And that's typically a huge advantage for red, because then you get 2 power picks instead of 1, and you still get the carry jungler that you wanted all along. So yeah, I like Sunning tomorrow. I will definitely put in a bet on Sunning. I'm going to have a decent amount of exposure to them on DraftKings. So like I said, on a normal day, the lowest amount of money that I'll put out is like $80. in that 20 entry max tournament. But I've also been going after tickets and stuff like that, so I'll probably do that again tonight. See if I can go back to back and get another ticket for Friday. But that's basically it for the video today. Thanks for watching. If you have any one-liners that you want to get into tomorrow's video, just do a little bit of research on like the names of all the players, some of the champions they might play. If you want it to get put into the video, you have to comment on YouTube or in the Discord channel. So the new patrons, I have a couple patrons right now in the Discord chat. There's a separate text channel in Discord that is called Esportscenter Lines, or Esportscenter Jokes, I think it's called. And like once you become a patron, if you ever have an idea for something you want me to say on Esportscenter, then just drop it in there and I'll consider it, as long as it's not horribly offensive or just a bad joke. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way.
He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend.
Fucking on it though. Then
He
you
a
can't put it up
legend.
later.
Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items.
Pike on money, pike on money, pike on money. We making pike on money. Payday, about to throw a rack on China. Need some DFS advice, where can I find some? League of Items got the sheet with all the lineups and all the stacks that you need to get to diamond. League of Items!
Getting gold, that's the goal. Keep on winning on a roll. Kill 4 dragons, got soul. Now you got nowhere to go. Teleporting top to bot. Dive your carry on the